My name is Susan. On my birthday, a message from my mother in the family group popped up on my phone. No one is coming to your party. Grow up. I read the message twice and responded with a simple got it. I then canceled the automatic payment of $2,600 for their rent. The next day, I repossessed their car and canceled all the credit cards they had used. That message from my mother, no one is coming to your party, grow up, was not sent privately, but in the group chat on my birthday. I read it again and my response was concise. Got it. The first thing I did after reading this message was open my banking app and cancel the automatic payment of $2,600 for their monthly rent. The next morning, I drove to their house. I didn't go inside. I simply pressed the button on the key, took back the car they had been using for 2 years, and drove away. Then I called the bank and blocked all the credit cards they had ever used. My action was not motivated by offense, but by having reached my limit, by no longer wanting to play a role I had never agreed to. Their silence afterward was not one of confusion, but rather a thick, heavy shock, the kind that settles in your bones when you realize something is truly over. It was not a tantrum, nor a bluff, just a door closing forever. They thought I would not go through with it, that I would make a momentary drama, maybe sulk for a while, and then move on as usual. But this time was different, because this was not the first blow, it was the last, the final full stop in a long and humiliating sentence in which I was never a daughter, just a resource, a human ATM with a face they could conveniently ignore. I'm 27 years old and live in a small apartment. I work in IT support for a healthcare software company. It's not glamorous, but it's stable, and I truly believed that we had finally made peace, that the worst years were behind us, that maybe, just maybe, I had done enough to earn a place in that family. But they didn't want proof. They wanted silence and gratitude for allowing me to be around something they still dared to call family. The real shock wasn't the message itself, but how many people ignored it. My aunt responded with a heart emoji, my sister commented with a cake, and my dad forwarded a meme of a clown with the caption, "Guess who's turning 12 again?" No one asked how I was doing. No one said, "Happy birthday." I sat in the dark, cell phone in hand, and the funny thing is, I wasn't even hurt, just stunned by how long I let this go on. I've been paying their rent since I was 23, not because I'm rich, not because they asked nicely, but because they made it seem like I had to. It's just temporary, you're the only one who's stable right now. We gave you everything, now it's your turn. That temporary lasted 4 years. Every month, like clockwork, rent, groceries, gas, Wi-Fi, repairs, I paid everything, even their cat's vet bill. Not because I wanted to spoil them, but because if I didn't, I would be guilty later anyway. And then came the messages, the passive-aggressive indirect messages in the family group. The power is about to go out again. Mom's back is hurting. I don't know how we're going to move without help. Alice's car broke down and she really needs to go to work. Can you give me some money in advance? That last one, Alice's car, I paid for. She still drives it and still posts selfies in it. One of them captioned, "Thankful for the people who really support me with a black heart," without even tagging me. Alice, by the way, is my younger sister. She's 25, unemployed, but somehow always on vacation. My parents say she's finding herself. She's been finding herself through my bank account for years. I once asked my dad why Alice never contributed anything to the household, and he said, "She's not like you. She's not built for pressure. You're the one who got stuck because I was built for pressure." They made sure of that. But even pressure cracks. Last Thanksgiving, I drove 5 hours to surprise them. I brought wine, groceries, a pie. I knocked on the door expecting, I don't know, maybe a smile. My mom opened the door and winked. "Oh, you're here." Then she called over her shoulder, "Alice, tell William to hide the presents. Your sister is here." I asked, "Who's William?" She laughed. "Alice's boyfriend. They've been staying here for a while." William was in my old room. I slept on the couch that night. At dinner, my dad made a toast. He raised his glass and said, "Here's to the woman who pays the bills but can't find a boyfriend." Everyone laughed, even Alice, especially Alice. I didn't say a word, I just drank my wine, then helped wash the dishes and paid the plumber's bill when the sink clogged, because that's what family does, right? A few weeks later, Alice posted a selfie with William in front of a cabin in the mountains, captioning it, "Family trip." I wasn't invited, and I didn't even know they were there. I found out when my coworker, who isn't even a close friend of mine, asked, "Hey, isn't that your sister on the Explore page? Looks like a fun vacation." I checked the photo, and there they were, Mom, Dad, Alice, and William, smiling, wearing matching beanies and holding mugs. I zoomed in on the mug Alice was holding, which was personalized with the best daughter ever stamp on it. They didn't even text me while they were there. The week they got back, I got an email from my landlord. Reminder, rent is due tomorrow. They had forgotten to mention that they hadn't wired last month's rent, just assuming I would find out, that I would pay as usual. And I did, because I had the money, but I wasn't going to forget about it. It got worse. One day, while I was working remotely from home, I heard my phone vibrate nonstop. The family group was buzzing. At first, I thought someone had died. Oh no. My dad had posted a screenshot of my Amazon wishlist with the caption, "Look at this adult asking for socks and shampoo for her birthday. Lol. Guess we didn't raise her tough enough. She can't even buy her own lotion." My cousin Samantha replied, "Uncle Mark sent a picture of toilet paper. Here you go, champ." Alice added, "She probably expects us to wrap this up for her too." I stared at the screen, not because I was hurt, but because it was so predictable, because they didn't even try to hide it anymore. They just assumed I would never fight back. And I didn't fight back, not yet. But I started collecting screenshots, messages, emails, proof of everything. The rent, the bills, the times they lied, the times they used my name for applications, even the time I accidentally discovered that my mom used my credit score to get a Target card. When I asked her why she did it, she replied, "It's no big deal, you weren't using it anyway." When I told her it was illegal, she replied, "Don't threaten me, you computer tech. You'd be nothing without this family." It happened again on my birthday, 2 weeks after the group humiliation, after the cabin trip I wasn't invited to, after the rent wasn't paid. They had the audacity to call me. Alice texted first, "Hey, Mom said you should come over tonight, have dinner as a family." I left her hanging. 10 minutes later, my dad called, "Don't make this harder than it needs to be. We're trying to move on." They always called it moving on when I was supposed to forget they'd hurt me. This time I said yes, but I didn't go alone. I arrived at their house, the same place I'd helped repaint, the same one with the refrigerator I'd bought, right on time. I walked in with a duffel bag and a backup hard drive in my pocket. My mom hugged me like nothing had happened. My dad handed me a beer, and Alice smiled like she'd already won. I listened. They talked about healing, about forgiveness, about how I had overreacted by canceling the rent and credit cards. Then my mom said the sentence that finally broke it all, "You're still part of this family, but you've made mistakes too." I took a deep breath, grabbed my laptop from my backpack, and opened a folder on my desk. It said truth. My dad scoffed, "What's this?" "Homework." I didn't answer, just clicked play. First audio clip. My mom's voice from a voicemail she left me last year, yelling at me to grow up and pay for my sister's college before she ended up like me. Second clip. Alice's voice on speakerphone. "She's always been weird. Just let her pay for things, it makes her feel useful." Then came the files. Screenshots of credit transfers, bills, group chats, Alice's Instagram stories where she bragged about spending my money. I turned the screen to them. They leaned in and then froze. I got up, went to the kitchen, came back with a flash drive, and plugged it into their smart TV. The screen went black and then lit up with a screenshot of a loan application. My father's name is the primary borrower, my name is the cosigner, without my signature. I looked straight at him. "You used my social security number without telling me. You put me on the front line of your debt." He opened his mouth. I held up my hand. "You've already been reported. They've frozen your account pending fraud analysis. You'll get the letter next week." My mother gasped. Alice started laughing. "Wow, you're so dramatic. What's next? Are you going to sue us?" I smiled. "No, but he will." That's when the doorbell rang. I went to the door, opened it, and let Thomas in, Alice's ex-boyfriend, the one she lied about, the one she claimed assaulted her, the one she almost ruined. Thomas walked in with a black briefcase in his hand and sat down across from her. "Do you want to tell them, or should I?" Alice blanched. "Why are you here?" He opened the folder. Inside were printed screenshots of fake messages she'd created to frame him, a photo of her notes on how to emotionally destabilize him before the breakup, a transcript of his audio edited to sound like he was yelling. My mother started crying. My father stared at the wall. Alice stood up. You're both crazy. This is harassment. Thomas interrupted her. You're not the victim, you're the villain, and I'm done pretending. He left. I followed him, then turned and said the last thing I would ever say in that house. You wanted me to play the role, the good daughter, the silent wallet. But now I'm the one writing the script. Then I grabbed my laptop, my hard drive, and left the house behind. The screaming started, my mother screaming Alice's name, my father demanding that I go back and fix this, Alice throwing something, maybe a glass. I didn't look back, because when you finally get the truth out, you don't turn around to see the ashes. The next morning, I uploaded everything. Not just the screenshots, not just the audio, I uploaded the entire file. A single post titled, When Family Treats You Like an ATM with a Heart Inside, with the link to every wire transfer, the illegal loan in my name, the fake messages from Alice, the edited audio, the breakup plans, the voicemail from my mom begging me to act like an adult and pay for her daughter's college tuition, my dad's Thanksgiving joke about me not having a boyfriend but still keeping the lights on. I didn't write a sob story, I didn't ask for sympathy, I wrote facts, I wrote receipts, and I wrote one final sentence. I'm not mad, I'm not sad, I'm just tired of pretending this is what family looks like. Then I hit post and turned off my phone. By noon, the post had gone viral. Not a massive, celebrity-level viral, but big enough to generate thousands of shares and hundreds of comments. Some were from strangers. This is exactly what I went through. My brother did the same thing. You're not alone. This level of evidence is insane. You nailed it, Queen. Others were from acquaintances, people who knew my family. One guy from high school wrote, I always knew there was something weird with your sister. This confirms it. I didn't respond. Just let the post run its course. At 3 p.m., my aunt, the one who had responded with a heart emoji to my mom's birthday insult, posted her own status. Dirty laundry is aired at home. Family doesn't belong on the internet. Alice posted a black square on Instagram with the caption, Betrayal hurts the most from the people you once fed. I almost laughed when my dad went live on Facebook. Yes, live. He was sitting in the garage, the same one whose roof I helped fix, and spoke into his phone in a shaky voice. My daughter was manipulated. She's mentally fragile. She doesn't know what she's saying. Behind him, a pile of beer cans. He kept saying he forgave me, that families make mistakes, that he hoped we could reconcile. In the comments, an old golf buddy replied, Didn't you say you forged her signature once? My dad liked the comment. And that was his biggest mistake, because I had video proof to the contrary, a 3-year-old recording of my dad sitting on the couch with a beer in his hand saying to Alice, It's okay, I used her social security number, she won't notice. And even if she does, she owes us. She wouldn't be alive without us. I posted it as a reply, no caption, just the date, and then I was offline again. Behind the scenes, I wasn't just watching them squirm, I was building it. I launched a YouTube channel that same week. Just one video at first, straight to camera, titled When Helping Becomes Enabling, no names, no accusations, just my calm but cutting voice. You can love people and still walk away. You can help people and still be used. And when they finally show you what they really think of you, believe them. The video got 400,000 views in 3 days. I was invited to speak on a podcast for adult children of narcissistic families, and I accepted. Then a second podcast approached me, then a third, then a publisher. I wasn't seeking fame, I wasn't trying to become a brand, but the truth was something people were hungry to hear someone say out loud what they were afraid to even whisper. My mother tried one last time. She sent me a picture of a letter from the mortgage company. The rent had not been paid, and the house was under review. Her message read, I hope you are proud of yourself, they can take the house away from you. I didn't respond, instead replying with a screenshot of her name attached to every dollar I had sent her in the last 3 years, more than $84,000, with the caption, You guys took it, not me. She left me hanging. 3 hours later, I got a text from an unknown number. It was Alice, just one sentence. I hope you never have kids. You would be a terrible mother. I smiled, not because it was funny, but because it was pathetic. They were trying everything. Anger, guilt, threats, anything but accountability. And nothing worked. The best part? I moved quietly, no postage, no forwarding address. A downtown apartment, 10th floor, Purchased in a different name through a legal trust. Fully paid for. New view. New number. New silence. They tried calling, they tried to find me through relatives, but it didn't work because I was done, not just with their games, but with the whole idea of owing them anything. Not my money, not my time, not even a response. A month later, I changed my number, not because I was scared, but because I was bored, tired of the guilt-ridden voicemails, tired of Alice's cryptic Instagram posts about narcissistic sisters, tired of my father's drunken emails that started with, "You don't know how hard this has been for me," and ended with, "Let's cash in on this mess." They weren't contacting me to apologize. They were contacting me to claim the story, but I had already taken the narrative, exhausted it, and buried it. They simply didn't notice the funeral. I didn't just disappear, I evolved. I moved into a 10th floor apartment, modern, clean, cool in every way I wanted it to be. The kind of place with high ceilings and quiet neighbors who don't ask questions. No family portraits, no group photos on the fridge, no spare keys under the mat for just in case. I didn't tell anyone where I lived, not even my closest friends, because this part of my life, the peace, the silence, the wholeness, wasn't something I wanted to share. It was something I earned. I furnished it slowly, one chair, one table, one piece at a time. No debt, no rush, no need for permission. I remember standing in the middle of my new living room that first night, barefoot on the tiled floor, holding a mug of coffee I'd made myself in my kitchen, and realizing that no one there would yell. No one would shame me for not doing enough. No one would ask for money or a ride or just a little help this month. There would be no group chats, no fake birthdays, no memes about me being shared behind my back. Just silence, beautiful, well-earned silence. I started working full-time for myself. The company had been a side project for years, quiet, careful, hidden, but after I blew it all up, it became a beacon. Understood consulting, named for the single word I texted my mom on my birthday. I built the website in one night, designed the logo myself, secured the domain, registered the trademark. It wasn't about making a statement. It was about never asking permission to exist again. Now, I help others break out of the same cage I grew up in. I speak, I consult, I listen, and I stay private because my life is not a reality show for my family to watch and distort. It's not a redemption arc they can hijack. It's a fortress with locked gates and motion sensors, and I sleep better than I ever have. 3 weeks after I moved out, I got an envelope in my mailbox. Inside was a handwritten letter from my mother, in slanted cursive, floral stationery, red ink. It said, "You used to be our sweet girl. I don't know who this bitter woman is. We made mistakes, but by exposing them like this, you humiliated us, ruined us. Maybe one day you'll realize how hard it was for us. Maybe one day you'll grow up." It ended with, "I'm praying for you." Again, I didn't cry, I didn't get angry, I just wrote 3 words on the back in permanent marker, "Keep your prayers," and threw it in the trash. 2 days later, my dad sent an email with the subject line idea, "How about we go on Dr. Phil? You tell your side, I'll tell mine, we make up." The public loves father-daughter reconciliations. Think of the reach, it could help both your business and mine. She attached a childhood photo of me, 5 years old, crying at Chuck E. Cheese's while my dad smiled at the camera holding a beer. I stared at the photo for 10 minutes and then saved it, not as a keepsake, but as a reminder that they don't want peace, they want a platform. That night, I released a new video on my channel. Simple, no background music, just me. They keep asking if I'll make amends, if I'll come back, if I'll forgive. But peace doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean pretending your abuser had a hard childhood. It doesn't mean sitting at the same table that once fed you shame. Peace means the absence of chaos, the noise, the absence of their names. I'm not their daughter anymore. I'm the consequence. The video had 2 million views in a week. One day, I was leaving the office and saw a couple looking at the logo on the door. I stopped. The woman looked at me and asked, "Are you her from the story?" I nodded slowly. She just said, "Thank you. I didn't think people like you existed." That moment, that small moment, meant more than all the birthdays I'd begged them to remember, because I no longer needed their applause. The world was full of people who had been deceived by people who loved them, and now I was proof that they could survive. I haven't spoken to my family in over a year, and I don't plan to either. They still post, still insinuate, still rewrite. I let them go. Because you don't argue with ghosts, you just stop haunting yourself with their stories. And sometimes late at night, I walk past the mirror in my hallway and see myself, older but not bitter, just free. Because I didn't escape a toxic family, I overcame it, and there's no going back from that point. The plaque still hangs in my office, a brushed steel plate with a perfect screw finish. We don't rebuild what broke you. We build what sets you free. Below it now hangs a second smaller plaque I had made last week. Guess who's not turning 12 again? And every time I see it, I smile because this year it's my party, and no one gets in who isn't invited. What did you think of Susan's story? Would you have done the same thing she did? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this story, please like and share this video and subscribe to the channel for more family stories.